Hello, everyone. It is Friday, April 26th, 2019. This is kops office hours. I am your moderator, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. A reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet. Please be mindful of our code of conduct. If you would like to, we have an agenda. If you would like to add items to the agenda or add your name to the agenda for the sake of posterity, that would be very welcome and helpful. We do have a very full agenda, so please do add items to the agenda so we can be sure to get to them. I pasted a link to the agenda in the chat. Otherwise, with our full agenda, I think we should get right to it. Peter, do you want to take us away with our first topic about AMIs?
Yeah, basically, we've cut a few alpha releases for new Kubernetes versions, and I'm wondering if we're going to do the same for AMIs so that each Kubernetes version has its own AMI, and what our release process for AMIs looks like and may change as a result of our many kops releases.
Yes. Okay. So yes, we should cut an AMI. This is, as I'm sure you know, we haven't even fully figured out the credentials for doing releases of like our binary artifacts. The releases of the images are even more sensitive right now. The process by which that happens is basically fairly open. The repo, it's built from the kube deploy repo, GitHub Kubernetes kube deploy. So if you want to build your own image, you can do so. The challenge is how do we push those images in a community way without, without it being insecure. And honestly, I don't think we will get to that until after we figure out our binary artifacts, which are much simpler. And I'm actually hoping we're going to make some actual concrete progress on that next week. At next week's working group gets in for a meeting. So then I guess next up would be this topic. It's not entirely dissimilar, except that we need basically a very locked down AWS account. So currently I'm doing that. It is a totally different AWS account from the one I use day to day. It's a different, everything, different billing account, different everything, different email address. Everything is different. It would be great to get that under community workings, but honestly, that's probably a ways away in terms of the actual release. We can certainly collaborate on the specifications in that kube deploy repo. And I see there are 5 pull requests, which I presume are against me, so I should probably do something about those. Yep, they are mostly against me, so I will work on those, and that is the right way to collaborate, and I am being bad at not merging those, or at least reviewing them. In terms of your question around, do we want to split the way releases work? I don't think we have to. The hard bit is basically getting a new kernel version on the versions where we're building a kernel of our own, which is we were definitely doing on Jessie, the older Debian, and we are not. I don't think we're doing that on the new Debian, which is called Stretch. Someone will let me know if I've got the names wrong. So once we have the kernel, we basically push that out to all the releases, and then the only difference the primary difference in the images is just about the Docker version that is by default installed. So that's the primary advantage of those images. It's honestly, it's no big deal it's a script. It's no big deal to run 10 of them or 6 of them, doesn't make any difference. So that's yeah. Do you see ARM is on there? Oh, that's a PR. That's great. I was like, ARM. The exception will be ARM, which is going to be harder, but it looks like we have a PR for that. So thank you to whoever did that. That would be great. We can still switch to use the stock, the stock Debian image or the stock CentOS or Amazon System Linux or RHEL or whatever. Those images should all work. So I guess at some stage, and we used to have to build those images. We might not have to build them in future. It is still a nice optimization to pre-install Docker or in future containerd, but maybe we can get out of the business of AMIs. I do think that there is also in cluster lifecycle or cluster API, there's also a separate effort to start getting into that business of maintaining images. So hopefully we can all work together and maintain those images together. But that is a very long answer to the idea that yes, I should do that, and we'll be updating the images. So expect a new set of images with a kernel bump and all the updates, and I will try to package the correct Docker versions in there. That's not terribly difficult. And if anyone wants to help, that is super welcome. Yeah, in general, it's a bit of the Bootstrap VZ project, which we were using, or which we are using in order to build those images. I think it's been deprecated now, and so now there's a different way to build images. So I don't know whether we want to stay in this business at all. But hopefully we can have that discussion more in SIG cluster lifecycle. We're okay. It's just like we're not getting any updates from upstream, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, to be honest. All right. All
right. So I think the next one's mine. Mine/Chris Stein's. I think Chris called this out on Slack. And so I just want to make sure that we got some eyes on it. Seemed like a pretty straightforward PR, but Justin had some comments, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, it just doesn't sit in limbo for too long.
Yes, I will take another look at it. As I recall, the issue is that AWS region is not necessarily, or my concern was that the AWS region nvar wasn't automatically going to be the same as the region in which your bucket was. And that's what I just wanted to make sure that we were locking together.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I will take a look at that. Yeah, we should definitely get that fixed, because I imagine that will be hitting people in, I guess, China and GovCloud would be the regions where it would hit.
Yeah.
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 Are you running in one of those two regions, Chris?
Yeah, I'm running in China.
Okay. That's actually great. Okay, I will definitely. That's good to know that it actually is real, and I will take a look. That's great. I don't know whether it would affect GovCloud. I know that China is like a different sort of account region. I don't know whether GovCloud is also isolated. But
no, China is totally separate. Gov might be, but yeah, for sure China is.
Okay.
Can't talk about it.
And Ryan, okay, so yes, I will look at that PR. I guess I could also just I could try to, one of the things I've learned is it's often easier to try to just figure it out in code, and I could make an unhelpful comment on a PR and the PR will sort of languish there. But if I actually try it myself, I often discover what's going on. So maybe if I try wiring up the S3 region, I will discover that this is in fact safe, or that this is in fact a nightmare and we should just do this. Or that AWS region is in fact fine anyway. Yeah, because if it's just China, yes. If it's just China, it should be fine. But anyway, I will have a look at that. I apologize for not moving that forwards. Where is that targeted to? What release? Milestone 14. That probably should be, okay. Let's label that as blocks next, at least. And then Ryan, you have another one, which I presume is also going to be a blocks next.
Yes, this was the blocks next off of Alpha 2 that we decided we couldn't replicate with etcd manager. We're on doing a rolling upgrade after successfully upgrading to the alphas or to the betas, and then doing another upgrade on the rolling update. The new master won't join. So after hitting it again and doing some debugging, I realized what's happening is on the running master, the etc host file is being corrupted. And my guess is between etcd main and etcd events, they're both trying to do updates. And at some point, it's reading the middle of an update and trashing the file. It ends up with an invalid host file. which then prevents it from ever getting the new IP address for the new master that's coming up. So I put a patch in for etcd manager that will prevent it from writing out a bad file. It just validates the output a little bit more to prevent that. It doesn't prevent the sort of race condition there, but it at least prevents it from corrupting the file and causing this issue.
Okay, thank you. That's actually great. Thank you for tracking that down as well. Like, that's really great to know. I think I had hoped that we could not bind mount the same hosts file, but I will have a look at what's going on there, and I will look at your PR as well. I think this.
Yeah, and I emailed you a copy of the host file that got corrupted, so you have that as well. So,
thank you. I will dig that up in my email. It's because we're not. I don't know. Yes, I will have a look. I guess we are. I'm trying to remember whether, in fact, we need. If we could have a local host file specific to the pod, I'm trying to remember whether we actually need it outside the pod now, because we've effectively disallowed external access anyway, because we're just saying, please stop doing that. And so I think maybe we can figure out a way to make the etc host file scoped to the pod, in which case, yes, we should avoid that class of bug. There may be other bugs, but we should hopefully avoid that class of bug. It's also I'll also look into the semantics of how files, like exclusive opening of files when they are bind mounted. I honestly have absolutely no idea how that works or does not work. But thank you for that PR as well.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Is it Ninai?
Yes, hello. Yes,
hello.
That's correct.
Great. Do you want to tell us about the Travis issue you found?
Yes. So I have a PR I want to get into release 1.13, but the PR is failing Travis CI tests. There seems to be a disparity between the config that's running for the job. The script that's running tries to use a make Travis CI. But when I check the Travis .yaml file in the release 1.13 repository, the branch, I see the script says make CI, not make Travis CI. I do not know how this happened, and if I just wanted to see if there was a way, if someone has seen this before, and how to resolve it.
Yes, I broke this recently. We split Travis off to avoid doing a Bazel something, some Bazel task. I can't remember which one it was. Mike might know, I don't remember. But yes, that was hitting Travis. I think there are two things here. First of all, in general, it's better to target master and we can cherry pick back. So you can sort of sidestep this issue. And what actually I have on the agenda later to show the cherry pick spreadsheet. With all these release branches, I've had to create a spreadsheet. You can sort of, if it's more normal to target master, even if you want to get it into 1.13, and then we can cherry pick it back once it's merged.
Okay.
So that's the sort of short answer, I think. And then the long answer is yes, we know that some of the branches have, like, we should have a separate CI and, okay, thanks. I will have a look at that. There's a comment in chat. Sorry, we should have a separate CI build for all the feature branches, and we should have a separate E2E build for all the feature branches. And I think honestly that they are not necessarily working correctly. That is something that Travis might not. I don't want to say. Oh no, I guess Travis could. Anyway, I don't know whether Travis can do it. I don't want to say he can't do it, but we probably just have to set up some more jobs in Proud to make that work correctly. I don't know if it's a top priority, but
okay.
Yeah, I would definitely focus on the master branch,
okay.
And then hopefully we get it off of that. And yes, if someone wants to look into setting up more Proud jobs for that or tweaking our Travis configuration, that's fine. But I hopefully targeting the master is the easier way to go.
Right. Okay. So that's great. I'll rebase on master and see about that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you. And
By the
then-
way, can we create an issue for the changes you suggested for Travis, so that if anybody wants to, carry on with the effort, put in the effort, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, if you want to create that issue, that would be wonderful. We can also, that's a great idea, and we can also then sort of try to gather like what we know is wrong with Travis.
Right. Yes. Yes. So something like a continuous improvement document or something, pretty much what's done when a SIG release does. It'll be very helpful to drive kops development towards where we would love for it to be.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, so I'll ping you later, and so that with the suggestion, and then we'll get on with it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And then yes, in chat, Shrikant, is that you wrote about another issue? Do you want to mention that, or?
No, I think this is a similar one. This was my first PR on the kops, so I don't know why the Travis was failing. So. Maybe I need some help out there.
Well, thank you for the PR. And yeah, it looks like Mike is going to take a look, and it looks like a Bazel issue, but it could be a fake Bazel issue. So it definitely didn't give nice output. So we at least need to make the output more self-explanatory, I guess.
Oof. Yeah. Yeah. I'll help take a look at this for you. We might just want to rerun it, but yeah, let's see. I'll take a look.
I mean, if verify Bazel fails, the trick is, or the command is to run make Bazel dash gazelle, Gazelle. Maybe two Z's, I don't remember. But we also need, thank you for drawing our attention to that, because the error output is not helpful. It should at least say run make Bazel gazelle, and it should probably tell us why it failed Bazel verification, but yes.
Sure.
Okay. Next on the agenda is me. Well, why don't I show the cherry pick spreadsheet first? Well, I'll swap the order because the cherry pick spreadsheet sort of comes more naturally. Which is, I will try to share a screen. Let's see if I can do this. Cherry pick. Let's see, share. Share. Can I share a window? It's a little hard. Sorry, this is, I guess I have to share my whole, there we go, okay. So can you see a spreadsheet with lots of pretty colors? Yes, okay, so we now have, I think, at least 4 branches that are very active. We also have master, of course. We have 111, 112, 113, 114. And I am trying, the way I'm sort of trying to do this, I imagine we will, in my mind, this is the beginning of a process, and a spreadsheet is a great way to sort of prototype a process. But so for every PR that goes into the master branch, oops, sorry, I didn't necessarily want to click on some PR. Okay, so every PR that goes into the master branch, I capture it from the logs, and then do we want to port it to 113, and do we want to port it to 114? And in this one, so for example, this one we ported to both, or cherry picked to both, this one to neither, this one to 113 only, but not to 114, this one to 114, but not to 113. And then the colors are green. I hope everyone can see red and green, but anyway, this color is green, and green, this color is for ones that are all done, and the whites are where I have not, or the cherry pick, I've done the cherry pick, so it has a Y, but it hasn't necessarily merged yet, or I haven't updated the spreadsheet yet, it's probably more accurate. And then this color, the red, is the ones which I still have to do. So for example, I wasn't sure whether we wanted to cherry pick this rename URLs PR, which is basically a refactoring PR, to the other branches. It's not a feature, but the risk is always if we don't cherry pick something, and the same with like there are some ones that are updating consts. The risk is if we don't cherry pick things that it causes a future PR to not cherry pick cleanly because it's a conflict. So it's not trivial, and maybe we should just cherry pick everything until we do the releases or until we get them to beta. I don't know how people feel. Like maybe that would just be easier than trying to maintain a spreadsheet and sort of judgment. Anyone have any views, or should we just keep doing this and see where it goes?
You don't happen to have this automated, do you?
It is not automated.
Oh boy.
Well, yeah, it's not. I mean, I have a script where I can type in these numbers, but yeah, it's not automated. So I am wondering whether it's better to just cherry pick everything. It would be more, I guess it'd be more automated. Yeah, we could actually have a script that did that and was automated.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to help with this effort if you need assistance.
Now I'm describing and I'm wondering whether we should actually just cherry pick everything. Okay. Anyway, I wanted to share that spreadsheet and put that in people's minds. If you wanted to have any thoughts, please do let me know, and yeah, we can think about how to do this. This will get much less bad when we release all of these versions. I mean, I think 1.11 is released, but as we do that, right now we did this sort of feature, we did this sort of catch-up move where we are basically cutting feature branches for everything. I'm guessing, so we don't become bogged down in cherry picking, we should start cherry picking everything, but I don't know. Hopefully I can switch to that. Anyway, wanted to share that. And then the real exciting thing, I hope, which is the next thing on the agenda, is also mine, which is about why we did all these feature branches. And so I have a bunch of proposed features, which I wanted to run over with people, which I'm hoping we can get into 1.15, which is what the current master branch will be. Yeah, which also means we can't cherry pick everything. Oh well. So yes, we have to keep doing the spreadsheet. So the big one, or the big ones, I think are, so one of the, I feel very sort of happy in that I feel like we've been playing catch up for a while, and now we have etcd3 sort of out of the way, or mostly out of the way, and we have the branches, so we are more able to do things that are, we're not playing catch up on the like behind on every Kubernetes release in terms of not being able to merge features because it will delay the new release. But so here we are. So the features I am hoping to get in are ones we've been talking about. I don't think any of these are new to anyone. I hope not. So if we can use bundles to update components outside of kops binary releases. So for example, when a helpful person contributes a fix to etcd manager, right now we would have to release a new version of kops to include that. Bundles are a format proposed by actually a Googler called Josh Hook. It's an open source project. They basically wrap manifests into a CRD called a component, and they have lots of nice features, but we can use them fairly basically as a sort of YAML format, and we can specify the etcd manager. Currently, the etcd manager YAML is hard-coded in our code, kops code, and we can put that into the releases, the channels file, or a file reference from the channels file. There's a bit of nuance there in terms of like, how does updating work? You don't want to sort of automatically update, and how do we make sure you don't need internet access all the time? But as long as we get it, I think the goal should be that we get it to be at the same place as channels are, where you don't need it to run your cluster, but you might need it to update your cluster, for example. Yeah. And it's also very easy to mirror if you want to run your own like mirror copy. Again, though, that hopefully will be something we can put into the Kubernetes working group K8s infra, so we have a better place to store those than GitHub releases. So if we can get that, I think that would be great. And then we have had this effort called kops server for a while that uses aggregated API server, which is sort of not the recommended way to do things unless you really need API aggregation. And now CRDs are basically, if not at parity, very close to parity, and there's a lot of efforts to get them to parity. So we can essentially take that, most of the same code, very few code changes, but switch to CRDs. That will let you run, in theory, on anywhere. Like I think you could put kops server on GKE or on EKS, but basically you're able to store your clusters and instance groups in a Kubernetes cluster instead of S3. We'll still support S3, but this is another way of doing things. And what it really enables is the next thing. But I did want to highlight one challenge, which is we use an API group of kops, and the rules on CRDs are that it has to have a dot in it. So we have to be like kops.k8s.io. I have a PR that basically makes this transparent for writing. So if you have manifests that use the old API group kops, they'll continue to work. The user visible change will be when you kops get cluster OYAML, for example, you will get back something which says kops.k8s.io/v1 alpha 2 is the current version. So if you're doing like a sort of string comparison, you will likely have to change your string comparison, your source strings. But if you're doing kops apply or something, we basically rewrite it on the fly, or kops replace or kops create or anything. Any of those ones, you should still be able to use either the old form or the new form without any problems. I don't know if anyone sees any obvious breakage to their workflow because of that. That's good. I see some shaking of heads. The cool thing that's a bit of pain, but what we get is we finally get some cluster API stuff. So we can then, I think, have a machine deployment for an instance group using the cluster API controllers. I think we'll still need the instance group in the cluster, and the machine deployment will sort of reference the instance group. But other than that, the same controllers more or less should just work. This should make it easier to port to other clouds, should make rolling updates easier, should integrate better with cluster autoscaler, all of the great things that are coming with cluster API. This is only for nodes, not for masters, at least to start with, just in terms of scoping. Masters are much trickier. And cluster API is itself v1 alpha 1, so it is still very alpha, so we are not going to make this required or even necessarily recommended because it's an alpha API. But as that goes to beta, we can certainly make it a recommended option. I don't know whether we would ever make it the only option, but or at least not make it the only option on the clouds which we currently support. But maybe like if a new cloud came along that wanted to only support cluster API, that would be a viable path. And then finally, sort of in conjunction with bundles, we can start to look at some more operators to deploy things a little bit more safely. Like we have this we have this tool called channels right now, which is the thing which actually applies your add-ons, and it's not perfect. I think we had a bug recently where, when you start to change options on an add-on, it doesn't necessarily update correctly, for example. And that's the sort of thing which we can get better with the operators approach and hopefully make it a little bit more dynamic so that you won't necessarily have to restart your whole kops cluster just because you tweak some small setting. Like if you change the verbosity of etcd manager, you shouldn't necessarily have to restart your kops cluster, whereas probably today you do. And that's sort of my goals for 1.15. I think if we can get all those into 1.15, I think I'll be pretty happy. But yeah, that's sort of why we're doing all these feature branches. Anyone want to add anything in there? Anyone want to tell me not to do something? Comments, questions, concerns? Cool. All right. Ryan, you have a question. I'm going to swap your 2 items, Ryan.
Yeah.
12 release timeline first, maybe?
Yep. Just what's our plan on that?
I think we're looking pretty good. I think the only holdup is the issue you found around etcd manager. So I need to dig more into that. I think there have also been some other reports which I need to dig into to make sure that they are known. And I think they're mostly around the docs and around the etcd version locking. Like I think 2 weeks ago, I think we had a big list of things that needed better documentation. I haven't had time to do that. But I think one of the real things that came up as a like code change that's needed is the fact that if you're using like an unusual version of etcd, which isn't even necessarily that unusual, like it just doesn't work with etcd manager right now because etcd manager has a small set of supported etcd versions. So we need to expand that set of supported etcd options and or at least warn people if we're going to like totally turn off etcd for them. It's not a data loss issue, but it's a like what just happened issue. So yeah, I think etcd manager is the only thing I'm really aware of, which I always knew would be hard, but hopefully we will be able to pull the trigger soon. And then you have a work in progress PR 6829, which I have.
It's the channels issue that you just mentioned of not updating. And I just need a couple minutes of your time to walk through what happens there, maybe if you've got a few minutes.
Yeah, can we do it? Can we talk and figure out another time? I'm having a terrible day.
Yep, no problem.
I'm having a very busy day.
Yeah. Yeah, just shoot me a time on Slack or email or whatever.
That'd be perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are you in the world?
Central time.
Okay, cool.
So.
All right. We have reached the end of our agenda. I don't know if anyone else had any other topics they wanted to discuss.
Hey, so I had a question about the enhancements you proposed for 115.
Yes.
Do you have a place where we could have like a collection of all these proposed enhancements? Because so that we could have, like eyeball them and see where we can put in any assistance.
That is a great idea. I guess I can open some some issues and we'll tag them as feature or something. And then I think the other thing I can do is we have a roadmap doc. So I will try to update the roadmap doc to reflect this if people are basically on board with it.
Excellent. Excellent.
Also,
could you please share the spreadsheet for the cherry picks?
I will. Yes, I can do that. I was like, I just wasn't sure whether I could do it. Let me see. Doc. All right. Share. Get shareable link. Anyone can comment. I'm going to only do comments. And hopefully not too many people will do crazy stuff.
Great.
Done. I'm going to paste it in the. Well, there's the chat. I think that should work for people. And then, where's our agenda? I'll also put in our agenda spreadsheet. There, I'll put it under the spreadsheet.
Thank you very much.
I don't know if people can see that, but there it is. And yeah, because I guess it sounds like we are going to stick with this spreadsheet if we actually want to, or stick with the process of cherry picking, I should say, if we want to actually put stuff on 115, which we don't want to bring back into the earlier versions, which is sort of now that I think about it, like sort of the goal. Which isn't to say we can't make the spreadsheet a little more automated, but I think we do. We can't just cherry pick everything, I don't think. Oh, I've obviously messed up because I'm getting requests to view. Share. Oh, that's why. Sorry. Anyone? Public. I will make that link public or replace the link with a public link when I'm not under pressure of trying to figure out how the sharing dialogue works. Maybe I can't share it.
Google employee joke here.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, I can do this. Maybe I can. Anyway, I will figure this out. Worst case, I will copy it to another account where I definitely can share docs publicly.
I have a real quick topic. So I was just looking at that the issue, the Travis issue, and so it was a Go format issue, or not a Go, Bazel Gazelle. It was exactly what you expected, Justin. So they need to run Bazel Gazelle. So it looks like in Travis right now, it's not outputting that error that we do for the when verify Bazel fails, it's not outputting that. So 2 questions really. First, should we just you stripped Bazel, some of the Bazel stuff out of there. Should we remove it from there as well? Because we have a Travis job, it being the verify Bazel. And then number 2, I'll look into why we're not outputting that error.
Yeah, if we have a Prow job that is verifying it, I would rather these things were done in Prow than in Travis in general. And I think that one was okay because like for some reason, like Gazelle, the Bazel generator doesn't actually need Bazel. So that's why it's sort of weird. Like we get away with it, but yes, if we have the similar job, there's no reason to do that. Have it in Travis as well.
Great, I'll take care of that.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other items or whether I can go try to figure out link sharing. All right. Well, I wish everyone a very happy weekend and see you all in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.